Good evening to our NSHSS members. It's my absolute pleasure to be with you tonight and to share some information about studying at the University of Western Australia and why the West Coast is the best coast and what it might be like for you if you take advantage of some time out to live in Perth, Western Australia, which is a pretty unique study destination. My name is Ruth Castrati and I'm the International Relationships Manager for North America. So do feel free to reach out to me if you've got any questions after this session or you want to chat about anything. I'm more than happy to help. I'm just going to start off with an initial slide just to show a picture of our university so you can get a bit of a visual about what we're talking about today. So the University of Western Australia is one of the world's top 100 universities, currently sitting at number 90, according to the QS rankings. And we're a part of the group of 8, which is the research-intensive universities in Australia. So that's a little bit about us. We're the oldest university in Western Australia, over 100 years of teaching for us, which is quite old for an Australian institution. In this session, I'm going to go through why Perth and Western Australia, to tell you a little bit more about our destination and some nice pictures for you to have a look at. I'm also going to give you an overview about the courses that we offer, and in particular, the course areas that we're particularly strong at. I'll also go over scholarships that are available to our North American students, accommodation options, and student support services as well. So another picture here, this is the skyline of the CBD area. So we've actually got a little river, or actually a really big river called the Swan River, but this is a little inlet called Elizabeth Quay. And right here, you've got a bunch of cafes and restaurants and hotels and apartment and a lovely bridge to walk over and ferry services that go to and from here. So this is quite a nice hub and somewhere that I'm sure you'll visit if you come to Perth. So first things first, where are we? So a lot of the time people are more familiar with the east coast of Australia and they might know Brisbane, they might know Sydney or Melbourne, but not necessarily us in the west coast, which is Western Australia, and Perth, which is our capital city. But as you can see, our state is pretty huge. So we take up 1/3 of Australia in terms of size. And we're located in Perth in the southwest corner. Fun fact, we are the most isolated city in the world in terms of our proximity to another capital city. So I've just come back from Melbourne. It took me 2 hours and 45 minutes to fly there, and it takes about 4 hours from Sydney. Also, just to put it in perspective, one of our favourite holiday destinations is Bali, Indonesia, which is just about 3 hours by plane as well. So often it's closer for us to go somewhere like Bali or in Southeast Asia than it is to go across to Sydney or Melbourne. But being the most isolated city in the world definitely doesn't have disadvantages. I can only think of good things. We have a great opportunity for students. We have a great lot of investment in our city. In fact, over the last 3 years during COVID, Western Australia was the only state to record a growth in the economy. Essentially, because we were isolated, it meant that we could put our borders up, keep our economy, keep our businesses running. And what that has meant is that we've had a huge amount of investment in Perth city centre and, headquarters being positioned there. We actually have 1/3 of Australian Stock Exchange listed companies who are now headquartered in Perth. So we do a lot of business with Asia, with Africa, with India, and the whole sort of Indian Ocean Rim area, which is just around here. We do have hot summers. We can get between sort of 30 and 40 degrees Celsius in the summertime, but generally it's sitting on about 28 to 32 degrees, which is quite nice. And in the winter, very mild compared to some cities in North America. So we would get down only to about between 16 and 20 degrees Celsius in the winter. We do have the most hours of sunshine in any capital city in the world. So that's 8 hours of sunshine per day through all of our seasons. And another nice factor for living in this side of Australia is that generally it's more affordable. So Perth is one of Australia's most affordable capital cities, and certainly a lot cheaper than Sydney or Melbourne for living costs, for renting and that kind of thing. To add to that, we also have 8% above the national average salaries. So it's quite a nice combination of a cheaper cost of living plus great salaries. So it kind of makes it a bit of a no-brainer place to come and work or study. If anyone is moving over with their families, we also offer free schooling for children of international students, which is good to know if that's your situation. We're consistently voted in one of the world's most livable city surveys. So that takes into account things like infrastructure, green spaces, clean air, good water facilities. And I've got to say, it is a really desirable lifestyle. I moved over here from England about 11 years ago now, and I certainly wouldn't be moving anywhere else anytime soon. I think it's got a really beautiful balance of a relaxed lifestyle with the amount going on that you want. It's got a really great bar scene, craft beer, restaurant, food and wine, festivals and culture, just a whole lot to see and do, but without the real hustle and bustle of a huge city. We are about 2.1 million people within Perth, but it is fairly spread out. All right. I'll go into some of the other things like visas in slides coming up. We are a very multicultural city. 1/3 or 37% pretty much of our population is born overseas, myself included. So that means that we welcome people, students, workers, travellers from all over the world. And we currently have 190 different countries and 270 different languages represented or spoken in Western Australia. We have 59,000 international students in Perth across our 5 universities and other pathway providers. A few snapshots to help you visualise what our city looks like. At the top, you've got Fremantle, which is about 30 minutes from Perth City. It's sort of the second largest city. It's a port and it's got a really bustling, vibrant scene, a nice coffee strip, lots of restaurants and bars, some really fantastic markets, and a really great way to give you an authentic Australian experience, and really great for shopping as well. Northbridge down the bottom here, this is our cultural precinct. So here you'll find museums, art galleries, exhibitions from all around the world. Most of the time these are free. It's quite rare that you need to go and pay for public experiences like that in Perth. We also have this great space, which you can see here, which is used a lot in the summertime for free outdoor cinema movies. There's a giant sand pit going on there. We have a lot of arts, comedy, writing, festivals and things like that. So especially in the summer when the weather is really nice in the evening, it's a fantastic vibe in the city centre. And if you want to escape from the city, just 30 minutes by ferry is Rottnest Island, which you can see a picture of here. It's just so peaceful. There's no transport allowed on the island apart from to access the accommodations, but you're not allowed to take a car there. You can get around by bicycling, you can get around by scooters or by swimming, boating, snorkeling, diving. And it's just a beautiful place. 63 beaches and some of the most beautiful water you'll ever see. That's a really nice destination. That's one of our favourite places to go as Perthians. Also close to the city centre, you've got Kings Park, which is within walking distance from the university, and you can see a picture of it here, a couple watching the sunrise. It's really gorgeous. It's larger than the Central Park in New York, and it has plenty of concerts, wildflower seasons, events, restaurants and cafes. So just a really nice day out at Kings Park. Cottesloe Beach is one of many beaches. I think we've got 19 city centre beaches in Perth. But this is a great place to go for UWA students because it's just 10 minutes from the university. So you'll often find UWA students enjoying a picnic or game of beach volleyball or a couple of beers, watching the sun go down, especially on a Friday evening in the summer. It's a really beautiful atmosphere. And for those into food and wine, we are lucky to have so many great wineries within the Perth and Western Australian region, including the Swan Valley, which is one of our premier destinations, and you can get there just within 25 minutes of the city centre. A little bit further out from the city, so you might be wanting to do some of these trips as day trips or weekends away, or even longer road trips during university holidays. You can travel right up to the north where you'll see places like the Pinnacles, 3 hours drive from Perth. It's almost like a sci-fi movie, I would say. It's really cool to go there at night under the Milky Way. It's just pretty spectacular, these rocky outcrops that are just all over. It's a massive space. We have Karijini National Park right in our top end, which is a beautiful place for hiking. It's got lovely waterfalls and swimming spots, and you can easily get there by a sort of car or renting a car, that kind of thing. Take a road trip with some friends. Down in Margaret River, that's a really world famous winery region. It's one of the world's top biodiversity hotspots as well. So if you're looking at anything within like biological sciences or marine sciences, you'll probably go down here for some field trips. It's got some very stunning beaches. Your Instagram will certainly blow up with the photos that you would take down the south of Western Australia. And if you're into surfing as well, it's a very famous surfing spot as well. We also have things like Treetop Walks that you can do down in our forest areas. So this is 40 metres high above the top of the trees. It's really amazing to do. It's called Valley of the Giants. If you're into diving and snorkeling, you can actually go and swim with the whale sharks. This is pretty much one of the only places in the world you can do this. And this is in Ningaloo Reef, which is in the top of Western Australia. And you can think of Ningaloo Reef as like a bit of a hidden gem, a bit of a lesser known Great Barrier Reef, but with the most amazing marine life there. While you're up in the north, you can take in Cable Beach, which is famous for its sunset, and you can take a tour on a camel along the beach at sunset, which is a pretty unique thing to do as well. Everyone wants to see kangaroos, and a kangaroo on a beach is even better. So you can go and check that out down in Esperance, which is right down on the south coast. Here you'll get squeaky sand, white beaches, really unspoiled. You'll probably have beaches to yourself when you go. There's that many of them, and you can camp right under the stars there. We have a whole lot of pink lakes in Western Australia, which are pink because of their sodium levels in the water, but they're pretty amazing, especially when you look at the photos with the green forest areas and the blue sea and the pink lake. It's pretty stunning. We also have the longest jetty, or you probably know as a pier, in the Southern Hemisphere. And this is a really cool place to go. It's 1.8 kilometres long. I'm not sure about that in miles, but I've walked it. It's long. It's also got a train up there. It's a really great place to visit, and also another really great swimming beach. Back onto the university itself. We are located in the city district, the City of Perth district. We're the only university that sort of falls within that location. And you can see the dotted line here, which shows exactly where our campus is and the boundaries of our campus. We are right along the Swan River here. So this part of the river is called Matilda Bay. It's extremely picturesque. We've got a yacht club. We've got dolphins, pelicans, swans in the river. It's a really nice place to go between classes, grab a coffee, just chill out, have a sit down, have some lunch, and just take a nice break under the shade of a tree. We are only 10 minutes drive from the city centre, and we have buses that go every 2 to 3 minutes during term time. So whether you choose to live on campus or in the city centre, it's very accessible to get to your classes. This big green space here that you can see, that's Kings Park, which I mentioned, and which you can walk to within 15 minutes from the university. So we're very well connected. If you do choose to live on campus, we have 5 residential colleges called College Row, which is located just literally across the road. So you can just roll out of bed, roll into your classes, and really have no worries about that. Some of the main areas on campus, you can look at the photos underneath here, include our health campus for medicine, dentistry, public health students. Our E-Zone building is for our engineering students, which was just opened 3 years ago. It's still pretty much brand new. And our business school is located right down this end of the campus, along with our sports science area. So about the university itself, we are highly ranked, as I said. So we're currently number 90 in the world, according to the QS rankings. And we do have 5 stars for teaching quality and 2 Nobel laureates currently still on our teaching staff. We have more than 4,500 global industry partnerships. This is extremely important to us. So we really want to make sure that our students graduate being job ready and that they have the opportunity to engage with industry as much as possible during their time with us. So that means internships, practical placements, networking events, all that type of thing to make you graduate career ready. We're the #1 institution in Western Australia for graduate employability, and we've just been ranked #2 in Australia for graduate starting salaries and employability. And now that was just released recently, so I haven't updated the slide, but we're sitting just behind the University of Melbourne in terms of graduate starting salaries and employability. So that's huge, news for our graduates, and it obviously shows how in demand our graduates are at the moment. We are what we call a comprehensive university, meaning that we teach across a broad range of subject areas. So you can see here everything from architecture, health, business, humanities, law, education, computer sciences, physical sciences, music, engineering, agricultural, environmental, and biological sciences. But just a few that I'll point out here on the left, these are where we really excel. So for these particular subject areas, we're ranked in the world's top 100. I'm just going to pull out 3 from here to focus on, because these are where we're ranked #1 in Australia or #2 in Australia. So for agriculture, we're voted or ranked #1 in Australia, and for environmental sciences, we're ranked #1 in Australia. So if you're even considering either of those 2 areas, you're really not going to find a better place to study it than UWA. If you're interested in mining engineering, we are 2nd in Australia for mining engineering as well. So also a really strong course, obviously. Just going into a little bit more detail about some of those subject areas. To the right here are just a small selection of the courses that we offer, both at undergraduate and postgraduate level. So whether you're coming out of high school now and you're looking at your first bachelor's or undergraduate degree course, or whether you've already completed university in the USA or another country and you're looking at further study, these are the sorts of areas that you can choose from. Certainly things like biological sciences and marine biology are very, very popular. As I said, we are located within a biodiversity hotspot. So the classroom is just next door, being the Indian Ocean and the great Swan River that we've got. So that's a fantastic way to get the practical experience and study at a really unique location for those particular areas. We have one of the best staff to student ratios of all of the universities in Australia. So that's 1 staff member for every 22 students, which means really personalised learning. And we have really amazing teaching quality. So certainly above the national average, and with really strong industry and business and government links. Like I said, that's really important to make sure our graduates are ready for employment. Architecture, design and planning covers over environmental planning, urban design, landscape architecture and architecture. One of the really nice things about studying in this area is that the class sizes are very small because it's not such a big faculty. You'll get to know your tutors, you'll get to know your classmates and everyone really well from the first day that you start your classes. We have some amazing facilities, 3D printers and laser cutters, some fantastic exhibition halls and studios to display work. And we are the first in Western Australia for full-time employment for postgraduate students in architecture and urban environments. There's been a whole lot of investment. There's a lot of building and planning going on at the moment in Western Australia. So it's a pretty good time to be an architect, and lots of jobs foreseeable in the future for this area. The university has accreditations within its business school with AACSB and EQUIS, which are the two main accreditations in both North America and Europe. So you can be assured that by doing a business or law degree here, you can take that qualification with you wherever you plan on working or studying in the future. We have a range of options here, whether they're very specific business areas like finance, business analytics, business information and logistics management, or marketing, or whether they're more general, for example, like a Masters of Commerce, where you can study a couple of different areas to get a really good business background. The Juris Doctor is our 3-year qualifying law program. That's a fantastic kind of landmark course for the university, taught by some really, really experienced teachers and lecturers. And we have really fantastic student results from this course as well. Strategic communication is really good for anyone that's looking at a career in the media or in journalism or anything like that. That's quite a popular choice. Within education, humanities, psychology and social sciences, again, we've got a fair amount of courses, everything from teaching, primary and secondary, translation studies, international law and international relations, public policy. So quite a lot of options here. And we do make sure that we work really hard to provide work placements to our arts, humanities and social sciences students as well. In terms of health and biomedical sciences, we have a very strong medicine school and we have a very strong dental school. So these are two really popular choices by North American students. And we also have social work, infectious diseases, public health, pharmacy, a whole lot of things that you might consider if you're looking into the health sciences area. One of our staff members within the clinical medicine field is Professor Barry Marshall, who's a Nobel Prize winner, who's still on our teaching staff. Physical sciences, engineering, computer science and maths. Now this is where we stand out in terms of engineering. So we offer undergraduate and postgraduate engineering, including specializations in chemical, environmental, mining, civil, mechanical, software, electric and electronic, and biomedical. We have a fantastic E-Zone building, which was an $80 million investment for all of our undergrad and postgraduate students. So really great teaching facilities, really interesting courses. So renewable and future energy, biotechnology, geoscience, hydrogeology, data science, which is absolutely just off the charts at the moment in Western Australia because we have so many mining and resource companies struggling to find data scientists. Our job outcomes are fantastic for those students right now. And ocean leadership as well. If you're interested in like the marine side of things, this is a really unique course that we offer. We also encourage applications from any potential PhD students. We are a really strong research-focused university, so if you have got your degree underway and you've got some research experience, you might look at doing a PhD. You can have a look at the different research strengths and current projects that we're doing at the university online, and we don't have any deadlines for applications for this, so we can pretty much get you going whenever you want, subject to supervisor availability. Just a little bit about scholarships that we have on offer for North American students specifically. For undergraduate next year, we have Global Excellence Scholarships, which are fee discounts, and the amount of discount on your fees depends on your final grade or your final results from your high school. So for example, if you're doing the SATs and you get a score of, let's say, 1270, that would automatically make you eligible for $10,000 per year off your tuition fees, okay? If you were an AP student and you got a score of 10 AP points, then you would get a $6,000 reduction per year off your tuition fees. If you're a postgraduate student, it works in very much the same way. If you've done your university already in the USA and you've got say a 3 GPA out of 4, you'd be eligible for $10,000 per year off your master's degree course. We do have these for some other countries as well. It's not just confined to North America, but I'm just talking a little bit specifically about North America during this presentation. The important thing to note with these scholarships is there's no separate application process. So basically, when you make an application to the university and we've got your high school or university results, we will automatically assess you and tell you which scholarship you're eligible for, and that will be reflected in the tuition fees of your course as well. Now, if anyone is thinking of coming and studying and then staying to work in Australia, we have some really great post-study work visa options. So this can really help for you to pay back your fees once you've completed your study, and also just give you really great international experience. Like I said, there's heaps of jobs at the moment in Perth, so it is actually a really good time to take advantage of this. The government has just announced an increase to the duration of working visas. So starting pretty soon, if you take on a bachelor's degree, you'll be entitled to a 4-year working visa after you complete your study. If you take on a master's degree with a minimum of 2 years, you would take on a 5-year working visa. PhD students can access a 6-year working visa. So really quite generous, and there's no restriction to the work that you can do after you've completed your study. It's full-time work if you want. I've just put it under review here because Perth, being what's considered regional in terms of the Australian government, has in the past meant that if you study in Perth, you get 1 extra year on top of the already generous working visas. So we're just waiting to hear back on whether that is going to be the case with these new extended visas, whether we can add 1 more year for Perth. And if so, that would mean 5 years stay back after a bachelor's degree and 6 years after a master's degree. Dependents can work full-time during, any time during the student visa period. So if you're coming with a spouse, for example, they can take advantage of that. You can work as a student part-time 20 hours per week during semester and full-time during semester breaks. The work is not confined to being within the university. You can take on whatever part-time work you can find, and we can certainly assist you to find a part-time job. The minimum wage in Australia is $20.33 per hour. If you're working as a casual staff member, you'll get 25% added to that. It's called a casual loading. So it works out to be about $25 per hour as an absolute minimum. So that would be for things like maybe dishwashing in a restaurant, waitressing, or delivery work, that kind of thing. As I mentioned about the accommodation we have just across the road from the university, we refer to it as College Row because it is 5 distinctly different colleges just across the road. They range from $370 per week right up to sort of the late 400s Australian per week. It really depends on what you're looking for, and you can have a look on the website to see the differences between the colleges. But generally speaking, for that price, you would be getting an individual fully furnished room with your own, obviously, bed and bathroom. You'll get a meal plan. So these weekly fees would incorporate about 14 meals per week. You'll get your room cleaned. You'll get your utilities, which is your bills paid for. You'll get your Wi-Fi, and you've got 24/7 support. It's also a really great way to meet other students from Australia and from overseas who are studying at UWA. And it's a very social environment. So the colleges work together for social events, networking events, sporting events, and that kind of thing. So you'll certainly find it a good transition and a really great way to meet like-minded people and start your friendship groups. If you prefer to live in the city centre off campus, that's absolutely fine as well, and we can assist you with that. Prices are cheaper to live in the city, which, as I said, is only 10 minutes away. The prices are cheaper because they don't include certain things such as your meals, and obviously you don't have that same level of support as you would with a UWA-owned property. But you do get some nice benefits like fitness studio or gym, rooftop terrace that we use for certain events and social activities, a swimming pool, laundry, etc. I'll just touch briefly on these areas. So this is academic skills. We certainly don't want any student to struggle. So when you start at the university, if you do find that you're needing to improve in any area, whether that be perhaps researching or academic writing or, I don't know, your maths or stats areas, then we can offer both one-to-one study advice with an academic skills advisor, or academic skills workshops where you're learning to develop some further skills in small group environments. We also offer after hours study help, so you can actually connect one-on-one with a tutor at pretty much any time of day. So this can really be helpful if you're sort of juggling work or other commitments along with your study as well. The UWA Career Centre is award-winning. We've got staff there who are dedicated to help you to develop your skills to be employable. That employability ranges from part-time work that you might take on during your study to graduate jobs. So they will help with one-on-one career advising sessions. They will help you with resume writing and interview and application skills. They will hold sort of business lunches or networking events to connect you up with industry. They also run a program called Career Mentor Link, where you might link up with a mentor in your particular professional area and meet with that person on a regular basis and get some really good support and insights and mentoring. They also will help students to get work integrated learning. So that's getting placementships, internships, industry project experience, and that kind of thing. Quite often that's already built into the course, but they can also assist to get you some additional stuff like vacation sort of placements and that kind of thing. We're also really strongly known for our events and activities on campus. And this is something that I really like to highlight, because students are coming to get their degree from our university, but they're also coming, especially in the case of North America, from halfway around the world, and we really want them to make the most of their time by getting involved in clubs and societies, getting involved in the community, volunteering, giving back as much as they can, and really getting the most out of their time. So we have something called Orientation Week, whereby new students can link up with clubs and societies depending on what they're interested in, whether that's, I don't know, Japanese anime, Harry Potter, electronic music, cricket, rugby, like you name it, there'll be a club for it at the university. We also have a great platform called UniBuddy, which is a way for future students like yourselves to actually match up with current students that we have at UWA and talk about Perth or the university, or like basically whatever you want to ask them, and get genuine responses to your questions. So that's sometimes more valuable than someone like me telling you about our courses and our campus, because this is straight from the students' mouths. And you can search for students based on where they're from or which course they're studying to, you know, speak to the person that's going to be most suitable for you. And that's pretty much UWA in a nutshell, and Perth, Western Australia in a nutshell. So I hope that's been informative for you. I would definitely encourage you to get in touch with us. So you can have a look through our social channels. You can jump on a live chat with one of our staff members, book an appointment, or send us through an email or phone call, and we can talk to you a little bit more the specifics of what you might be considering to study. And yeah, please do feel free to get in touch with any questions. Love to hear more from you. Thank you so much for your time this evening, and it's great to partner up with NSHSS and be able to provide this information to you. So thank you to everyone from your end as well. Thank you. Take care.